fiction writer, she can dream. And she is now a dreamer. Let me introduce my sister.
It couldn't be better than at this historical, romantic room to have this adventure tonight. I'd like to dedicate this actually to our mother, times that she only occasionally flirted with reality. And there was a thin line between her fiction and her nonfiction. And I'm not sure that she ever cared very much what side of that line she was on. From the time I was little, she told me she had been reincarnated from an Egyptian princess, probably Cleopatra, no doubt. And she often dressed in this little Kansas town as though she were Egyptian. That's surprising. She would wear these sort of muumuus, she called them, kind of long dresses and ornate jewelry. And I'm sure that everyone in town thought that she was crazy. And she wasn't quite crazy, but in a delightful way. And so the trilogy starts with in Cairo and in Egypt because of probably the influence that she had on me as a child. In these trilogy of novels, Lucretia is the mother of Justine, who is the anthropologist, who's the main character through the novel. She is a lot like our mother would have liked to have been. She has so chapter 1 of Etruscan Evenings, there is a quote that Italy is a dream that keeps returning the rest of your life.
In 1927, two important visitors came to Cerveteri, Benito Mussolini and D.H. Lawrence.
To Italy, we discovered D.H. Lawrence's Etruscan Places. And we were just really charmed and taken by his perception of the Etruscans, which were so different than many of the other folks who had studied the Etruscans, particularly Mussolini, as you can imagine. And so
D.H. Lawrence came in search of Etruscan places, the loving tale of its admired Etruscans who were destroyed by the cruel Romans.
Halfway down the room, she came upon a terracotta sarcophagus that drew her attention with such intensity that chills moved up her uncovered arms. Men and women were in conversation, touching, relaxing together, a natural part of each other's world. No air of dominance or superiority enveloped the men. No semblance of diffidence or timidity defined the women. The room came alive with the communal existence of humans on a shared journey.
You understand the Etruscans, you must understand the Greeks, then I know my work. Etruscans are my speciality, Egyptians my avocation and passion. Your translations are thorough, detailed, very professional.
Justine started up the pathway leading across the Fezole Hills, behind the Villa San Michel, and upward into town. At first, I create my own cages, she thought. She turned to watch the afternoon sun being pulled towards the Arno and reflected.
Without apology, for the Etruscans, everything is about life, even death. Their life was one of ease, and they felt no need to force the mind or the soul in any direction. Death was a pleasant continuance of life.
Kneeling, she lifted the large brass lock on the trunk and opened the heavy lid, causing the fabrics inside to expand like rising bread. She stared hungrily at the feast before her. Justine recovered 3 square bundles tied with delicate blue satin ribbons. Sitting in an old rocking chair, she tenderly untied one of the bundles and picked up the first letter.
Jane Lowry. Those letters are written to Justine's great-grandmother Isabella Hasuna, whose father is the ambassador to the Vatican at that time.
The letters in the book, are they true?
No.
They're very true.
No need to force the mind or the soul in any direction. The Villa San Michele began in its glorious life as the monastery of St. Michael the Archangel in the 15th century.
For stupidity. Writers are selfish. They turn inward when they ought to turn outward.
I need to say that Morgan in the book is a rather arrogant, misogynist, archaeologist, not at all like this. Oh, handsome and all this. Yeah.
Well, you offended me when you were describing Morgan.
It seems that Sir Romer had agreed to spare Arthur's life if he would return within a year with the answer to the question, what is it that women most desire? What a woman desires above all else is the power of sovereignty, the right to exercise her own will. Why didn't you tell me this story years ago?
What?
How do you feel when you're writing the book?
Is Annie here? I feel a sense of joy and exuberance and pleasure. And you know when you're in flow and all time loses connection, or you're not aware of time? Liberating to write fiction. I want to thank all the readers and the guests. Thank you, good friends. Interesting role played by your hostess tonight. And actually both of them, because one chapter takes place in this room at a dinner party. So thanks again.
we're gonna have to. It's definitely worth a read.